There's a way to extract copper from cable, much faster than a knife. But some of these methods can ruin everything. Today, we test them. No, not all ways of extracting copper from cable are the same. Some save you hours, others completely ruin your work. So today, we're testing crazy methods to see what actually works. Freezing. Does it make insulation easier to break? Heat. Does it soften it enough? Boiling water. Useful or a waste of time? Paint thinner. Solution or disaster? But here's the most interesting part. What happens if we melt the insulation inside a sealed device? No smoke, no smell, just copper. Or at least, that's the hope. By the end, only one method will remain. The fastest, the easiest, the one that extracts the most copper in the shortest time. Let's see which one is actually worth it. To start, we'll pick a few different types of copper wires with different kinds of insulation, some softer, some tougher. We'll put them in a plastic container and place them in the freezer at -15 degrees Celsius. While the wires are freezing, we'll move on to the next method. On a metal tray, we place a sheet of baking paper so the cables don't stick to the surface. Then we add different types of copper wires in various sizes and put the tray into the oven at maximum temperature for 3 to 5 minutes. Do not try this method at home as it releases some smoke. After 5 minutes, the insulation on the wires became very soft and flexible, so I was able to tear it off by hand and extract the copper. This method only works if you have an oven in a garage or outdoors. The wires should be taken out one at a time. I removed the whole tray at once, and they cooled down quickly and became hard again. Let me know in the comments what you think about this method, and I'll move on to the next one. For the next method, I need a very strong solvent. The one I'm using is designed for removing automotive paint. The copper wires sat in the paint solvent for more than 24 hours, and now let's see what happened to them. For those who thought the insulation would disappear or dissolve, I hate to disappoint you, but it didn't need to. The copper separated from the insulation, and now all you have to do is pull the copper wire out. It slides out very easily. It's a good method, however. 500 milliliters of solvent costs about $5 and has a very strong, unpleasant smell. Don't forget to write in the comments what methods you use. I'd be really interested to know. Now, let's move on to the next method. Now I'll take some copper wires, place them neatly in a pot, pour in enough water to fully cover them, and put the pot on the stove until the water starts to boil. I let them boil for 30 minutes. During boiling, the adhesive inside the insulation softens, allowing the copper wire to separate, which makes it much easier to pull out. Now let's see what happened to the wires from the freezer. I left them there overnight at a minimum temperature of -12 degrees Celsius. At low temperatures, the insulation should lose its elasticity and become brittle, so hitting it with a hammer should make it crack apart. But as you can see, the theory doesn't work. We probably need much lower temperatures. If we reach 1,000 likes, I'll get liquid nitrogen and we'll run some experiments with it. Now we move on to the popcorn machine experiment. For a long time, I had the idea to build a pyrolysis device for cables, something that could burn insulation without smoke, gases, or environmental pollution. And I found this machine online that, by design, seems perfect for that purpose. I ordered it from China for $70. It has a 400 milliliter capacity, but there are also larger versions available, up to 10 liters. First, I decided to test it with popcorn, because once I put cables inside, there's a real chance it could explode due to high pressure. The popcorn is gone. Now it's time to get to work. I didn't fill it with cables. I only put in 2 pieces to start. I didn't want to risk doing this indoors, so I moved outside. But the wind is very strong here, so I covered the device with a metal sheet to help retain heat. After 5 minutes, the silicone seal on the lid failed. The pressure and temperature damaged it, and the cable didn't fully melt. It needed a few more minutes. However, it looks like this method could work, but the silicone needs to be replaced with something more heat-resistant. I'll think about how to improve it. If you have ideas, write them in the comments. Now, let's move on to the final experiment. To run this experiment, I had to borrow my wife's hair straightener. I just hope it survives so I can put it back without any explanations.